Unit 7, learning target number 1. Find the area of squares and other rectangles. In this unit, we're going to cover area and volume and surface area and all those good geometry-like things. So let's begin by talking about area. An area is the space that a two-dimensional object takes up. So for example, in this case, we have this swimming pool here. We want to know how much area the top of this swimming pool takes up. This swimming pool is 10 meters by 6 meters. So we've reflected that down here. We've got this nice little rectangle that represents the pool, and it's 6 meters by 10 meters. And we want to know how much space all of this 10 meters by 6 meters takes up. So let's go ahead and start that. Now you'll probably remember from the past that to find the area of a rectangle, we simply multiply its length, which is this area right along here. We multiply its length by its width. What you may not have talked about is why that makes sense. So let's take just a couple of seconds here and think about that. So we have here our 10-meter rectangle by our 6-meter wide rectangle here. And what does that mean? That means if we were to break down this rectangle into what we call unit cubes, in this case this should say meters, not centimeters. If we were to take a cube and it was 1 meter on one side and 1 meter on the other side, if it had an area then of 1 meter, we could fill this rectangle up with 10 on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on this side, and then up and down here the width would be 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if we were to multiply those, we'd get the total number of unit cubes. So it would be 60. We'd have 10 here, and then 10 here, and we'd have 10 6 times, which gives us 60 of the meter cubes. And that's exactly what we get when we multiply the length times the width. 6 meters times 10 meters gives us 60, and it's in centimeters squared. If you notice, we have these squared units here. It says measured in square units. We have that little squared symbol right up there. So these are squared, and that's because, as you see, these are little squares here. It's not just the length in one direction. This would be measured in centimeters. This could be measured in centimeters. But when we're measuring space, when we're measuring two-dimensional space, we have to have some other kind of measure. So we measure it in things that are squared, that are multiplied by themselves. They are whatever they are on this side by whatever they are on this side. So 1 meter by 1 meter. And of course, 1 meter by 1 meter is just 1 meter squared, because 1 times 1 is 1. But over here, since we have 6 meters by 10 meters, we get 60 centimeters squared. That also means that we now know the area of our swimming pool, which is 6 meters times 10 meters, which gives us a total of 60 meters squared. Now let's use what we learned to find the area of rectangles to find the area of this rectangle. In this case, we have a picnic table here that is 2.5 feet on this side, so 2.5 feet over here, and 5.25 feet on this side. And what is the area formula? Well, you'll have to remember that one. That one is area is equal to what? The length times the width. So all we have to do in this case then is multiply the length, which is 5.25, times the width, which is 2.5, 2.5. Now we'll remember our fraction multiplication here. We'll go around the clock, right? We'll go 4 times 5. And that's 20 plus the additional 1 here. That gives us 21. And we'll keep that over the 4 there. 21 over 4. And in this case, we're going to go around the clock again. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus this additional 1 here is 5. And we'll put that over the 2. So 5 over 2. And we'll multiply those top times the top and bottom times the bottom. In our case, 4 times 2 is easy. That's 8. 21 times 5 is a little bit more complicated. You can put that in your calculator, but 5 times 1 is 5. And 5 times 2 is 10, so that's 105 over 8. And if we wanted to, then we could break that down and give ourselves a mixed number here. We can do that. 8 goes into 10 one time. We subtract 10 minus 8. That leaves us with 25. 8 goes into 25 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. We subtract those two and we're left over with 1, which means we have 13. Right up here we keep this number. We have 13 and 1 over 8. 13 and 1 over 8. So 13 and 1/8 feet is the area of our picnic table. Okay, so now we're asked, how can we find the area of the square? Now we've got a square here. Well, what do we know that will help us? Well, we know, number one, that a square is also a kind of rectangle. A square is actually a rectangle, but it's a rectangle whose sides are all equal. In this case, I know that the width of this square is 5. And since it's a square, I know that the length is also 5. So I know that every side on here is 5. But what I'm really concerned about is my length and my width, because I have a formula that says the area is equal to the length times the width, or the length times the width. I can write it like that with them right next to each other. And so what I can say is that the area is equal to 5 times 5, which can be written as 5 squared. 5 squared. So we could also say that the area, this is another formula for the area of a square, the area is equal to the side squared. In our case, that side is 5 something, and A is equal to 5 times 5, or 5 squared, which is 25. Now that we know how to find the area of a square, let's apply it to a real-life situation. Here you have a picture right here. This little picture right here is a picture of in London, they had an actual life-size chessboard, and it was made of chess pieces that were all carved out of ice. So you have some that were white and some that were clear. And on January 11th, 2007, 2 games of chess were played. One game was played in Moscow, and one was played in London. They were played on these life-size boards made of ice, which is really cool. Now, we know that chess boards are in a particular shape. They are in the shape of a square, right? We know that they are the same length on both sides, on the length and the width. Those are the same. Now, the chessboard was in the shape of a square with side lengths of 26 1/4 feet. What was the area of the board? To find that, all we have to do is multiply the length times the width, or we could say the sides squared, right? 26 1/4 squared. We'll just keep length times width here, and we'll say 26 1/4 times 26 1/4. Now, to get that, we need to do a little bit of math. And you can punch this into your calculator, but let's just do it for fun. We need to multiply 26 times 4, and then we're going to add 1 to that, right? We're going around the clock there. So 26 times 4 is 4 times 6 is 24. We carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. So that's 104. 104 fourths times 104 fourths. Now we've got this hairy multiplication situation on the top. Kind of difficult up there, but the bottom, 4 times 4 is easy. Top times the top, bottom times the bottom. Bottom's easy. You got 16 there. And then we have 104 times 104. Let's see if we can do that really quickly here. 104 times 104. 4 times 4 is 16. We carry the 1. 4 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. And if you'll remember, we put our 0 here. And then we've got zeros all the way across. So 0, 0, and 0. 0 times 4 is 0. 0 times 0, and 0 times 1. Next line, we put 2 zeros. We multiply 1 by all of these. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. Then we add all these together and we get 6, 1, 8, 0, 1. We get 10,816. 10,816 sixteenths. And that is the area of our chessboard. But let's go ahead and see. Ooh, this is going to be kind of cranky. Let's go ahead and punch this into our calculator here. Give ourselves a little bit of a break. 1,816 divided by 16, and that's going to be 676. 676 what? 676 feet, and don't forget that it is squared. Feet squared, because we are measuring area. 676 feet squared is the size of our life-size chessboard. And there you go.